Hi guys, I hope you're all well. Well, the topic of this video is quite a serious one, I would say. There's a lot to get through and there's so much I want to say, so I'm gonna just try and get through it as quickly as possible. I'm talking about toxic people. A couple people sounded there, oh my god, toxic, how can you be calling people toxic? Like so it's some kind of racial slur. First of all, when I say toxic, I mean like somebody whose behaviour is negative towards you. That's what toxic is. It doesn't necessarily mean these people are bad, because as I'm going to explain to you in this video, a lot of these people who can be negative towards you aren't necessarily bad people at all. They just act in a certain way that is not good for you as a human being. So that's basically it. Like, I don't understand people that are trying to kick a fuss over nothing. I'm going to start by telling you guys my story of my experience with this topic, and then I'm gonna go ahead and talk about things loosely and reply to some of your questions, but I'm not gonna actually read the questions because I kind of have it all in my mind, and because I'm using my phone as a mic right now, so I can't really take it and use it. A really long time ago, I was friends with this girl, and to begin with, it was all really cool. I really looked up to this girl. I think she was like a year older than me, or even less, but yeah, I really looked up to this girl, and we were really good friends for quite a long time, and everything was just great. We really enjoyed each other's friendship, and we really enjoyed being together and hanging out and doing whatever girls do, shopping, etc. So slowly I started to realise that she says little things that kind of affected me in a way, and to begin with, I didn't really notice it. I actually didn't notice it at all. Me as a friend, I'm not usually the dominant friend, so I'm usually the one that's just the cool one, you know? But she was very, very dominant, and I didn't really have a problem with that because I'm used to having friends that are more dominant than me, so I was just used to it, and I just took it as like she was just making a joke or whatever, but sometimes it just wouldn't be funny. For example, she'd just be saying things like, oh, I do this and you don't do this, da da da, I'm more mature than you, na na na. Like, basically she was very competitive, and she liked to make that clear that I was below her in certain things. And it's very small things. For example, I don't know, something that she has or something that she's done that I haven't done, sort of thing. It's not something major, it's just something little, and I didn't really think of much of it first. So at one point we got into a little bit of an argument, and I just told her how I felt, and then she apologised and things went well, and then I started to feel these things surface again, but very subtle, and that's when I thought, you know what, I don't really need this friendship. I don't see this friendship going anywhere. So I just literally distanced myself from her, and that's it. I'm no longer friends with this girl, and I don't really think she's a bad person, but I don't think she was meant to be my friend, kind of thing. I think I wasn't meant to be for her, kind of thing, like, nasib, but friends-wise. But yeah, it just didn't work out really, and I just distanced myself from it. I didn't really speak to her about it. I didn't even say anything because I've already told her about it, and if she's still acting like that, I just thought, you know what, let me just distance myself. There's no point of talking about it anymore. I don't want to sound like I'm nagging her. I don't really need her friendship if it's going to be like that, do you know what I mean? And I thought I was worth a lot more than that. And this was way before I met Latif and everything, so yeah, that's my experience with a toxic friendship. If you have a friend and you feel like they're impacting you negatively or they're making you feel low about yourself, just know one thing: you're not worth being in a friendship that is going to make you feel lower, personally. So I would say the first thing is to think to yourself, is this friendship going to take me anywhere? Is this a really strong friendship that I'm really close to the person, and do you see that person changing? If you do, I would suggest you sit down and you speak to them, and you make sure you tell them how you feel completely, and be completely honest with them. That way, after that, their actions after that will determine whether you will stay in that friendship or not. If you want, you can tell them a second time and a third time if you really genuinely appreciate and love that friendship or that relationship or whatever it is. And if they're still like that, I would recommend you guys distance yourself, because I don't think it's worth being in a friendship where you're just being affected negatively by this person, and this person's trying to dictate your life, this person's trying to tell you you're doing wrong things, or this person's trying to encourage you to do wrong things, etc, etc. I would say distance yourself. Now, let me just remind you guys something. I'm not some kind of guru. I'm not some kind of like a doctor or something. I'm just telling you my advice from my point of view and from my experience. So that's all I'm gonna say. Now, as I said, if it's a friendship that you really care about, you should try to speak to them more than once. And if it still continues, distance yourself. And while you distance yourself, observe how they either come back to you and become better, or they go even further away. And that just shows you that it was never meant to be, kind of thing. If it's a relationship and you're in a relationship with a guy, and I actually had a couple of questions about this, being in a relationship with a guy and they've become really negative in certain ways, their behaviour's changed, I would say distance yourself. The thing is, do you know when you distance yourself from someone, they start to realise your worth, because sometimes they kind of forget because they've always seen you, they're always talking to you, and they don't really realise your worth as much if you are not with them, kind of thing. And you know that, like, that saying that you only miss something when it's gone? So do that. And if they still don't change and they don't come and try to correct themselves with you, then I would say just let it go, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it for you. Nobody is worth your sadness. Another thing a lot of you guys were asking was family. Now this is a very, very sensitive subject, because I can't really tell you guys how to deal with your own families, because I don't know your families, I don't know you, I don't know what you're going through. A couple of girls, actually quite a lot of girls, and I'm not talking about recently, I'm talking about since I've been blogging, and when girls ask me questions like through email or message, a lot of you girls, especially British-based girls, have been telling me that their parents won't let them study at university. Now personally, I think this is really upsetting, that parents still think that girls shouldn't go to university or shouldn't seek higher education in this country even, and this sticking to back home mentalities is really sad. I think you should sit down with your parents. With parents, if there's anything toxic going on, or you feel like there's anything negative that they're saying to you, I feel like the best way to tackle it is to sit down, make sure you've thought of what you want to say, and you're very straightforward, and you're very confident in what you want to say, and voice your opinions and be completely honest with them. The thing with parents, and that's something I've realised, and if they don't like something you're doing and it's something you're passionate about, they will tell you they don't like it. But if you stick to it and don't let go and show them just how passionate you are, slowly, they'll get used to it and they'll actually love it just as much as you do. For example, I'm going to give you an example. When I started Instagram, like posting pictures of myself on Instagram and videos on YouTube, my dad was so not happy. He wasn't comfortable with the fact that his daughter was putting pictures of herself on the internet and it was all public and videos. So he wasn't really happy with that at the beginning, like he really was not happy. But now it's just, he completely supports me. Both my parents completely support me, and there's no longer any of that dislike towards what I'm doing. And that's why I believe that with parents, through time, they kind of get used to it and they see it from your point of view. So if something is something you're passionate about, make sure you're always showing them the good side of it and why you're so passionate about it, and slowly they will understand it a lot better and they will change their minds eventually, inshallah. I think most of the people who are asking me questions was how to deal with friends who are starting to become negative towards them. And a lot of girls were actually telling me, and I can't believe best friends could be like this, but they're asking me how to deal with their best friend who's starting to be jealous and telling them, oh, you're fat, you're this, you're that. Like, how could you be around someone that's this negative? Distance yourself from these people. Either tell them straight that you're making me feel like this and I don't like it and you need to stop because it's not a good thing what you're doing. It's really not nice to do to someone else who's your best friend. And then distance yourself. And then slowly they will either come back or they won't. And that's okay, because if they don't come back, then they don't know your worth. And you only need to be around people who know your worth. So you're not missing anything. There was other questions about how to get away from people without making it obvious that you're getting away from them. I think just make it clear, just whenever they want to hang out, just tell them that you're busy doing something. Or maybe you're working, just tell them you're working. That's if you don't want to tell them that you don't want to hang out and you don't want to tell them outright. Just make excuses, I suppose. and maybe hang out with them every now and then just to keep it, you know, smooth. At the end of the day, you should never feel forced into hanging out with anyone or being around anyone who's going to make you feel upset, because what's the point of that, really? What is the point of that? What is the point of being around someone who's negative when you could be out there finding people who are very positive towards you and who will fulfill you a lot more in this life and the next? I love doing these videos because I feel like I'm just showing you guys my true self. It's not just the makeup and the fashion and all of that. It's a lot deeper than that, and that's what I like. So anyway, I'm not going to keep you guys for too long. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it helps you in anything you're going through. Just please remember, you're worth a lot more than negative people. I swear to God. The time you're wasting being around negative people just because you feel sorry for them or just because you feel like you don't want to be rude to them, you could be out there finding people that are positive for you. I swear, like, it's not that deep when it's people that are not your family. Obviously with family it's a lot harder and you need to take it a lot more delicately, and as I said, you have to sit down and talk to them. Another thing, if you're talking to your family and you need some help, I would suggest you get some family friends or other family involved who are on your side so that it can help make the process easier. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys because I keep babbling and I can keep babbling forever. And yeah, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.